We're here at LMU's Playa Vista campus in the heart of Silicon Beach, just steps away from some of the biggest players in AI, including Meta. And there could be no more perfect setting for our inaugural issue of LLS Impact, where we do a deep dive into AI, technology, and the law with LMU Loyola Law professors Angel Diaz, Colin Doyle, Jennifer Fan, and Andrew Keene Woods.
Both government and business has made it clear that investment in AI is existential to the continuation of both our success as a country and our economy.
I don't think that this technology is neutral in any way, but I do feel that there is potential.
Here we are at the birth of this brand new, very exciting technology, a technology I'm super optimistic about, and the executive branch is saying private market sets the rules.
We want to let innovation, continue to thrive. We don't want to stifle it in any manner. However, I think we've come to a point where there's a realization that I think there needs to be legal guardrails, and probably earlier in the life cycle of some of these private companies rather than later.
When we hear people express skepticism about AI, are they really expressing skepticism about the corporations or government actors who are using AI? Are they expressing skepticism about government's willingness and ability to regulate AI to prevent harms and abuses? Or is it a skepticism about our own ability to recognize risks for a technology that is bringing such immediate and dramatic benefits already?
I'm concerned that as we offload more and more functions to private actors who have trade secret protections or other reasons to be more secretive about how their systems work, that we are actually going to lose a valuable accountability measure that we are typically reliant on having when a government's doing something.
At the end of the day, a company's a company and they're trying to make a return, and that's not bad. I'm not suggesting there's anything wrong with that, but let's not pin all of our regulatory hopes on them behaving well.
Our government is so fractured now. There's been so much conflict of interest too, that I think is overlaid upon all of these kind of challenges we're seeing with this particular technology. And also, what does it say about us as a society in terms of what we choose to regulate and what we choose to invest in terms of AI?
What's the promise that this technology has to deliver, right? I think of recently Anthropic publishing this report on here are all the jobs that are going to get automated through AI, and it's treated as though like this is the weather forecast or something like that, as opposed to like we're the ones building the thing, right? And it's a way in which the technology is looked at as, well, this is inevitable, rather than something that is the product of, is there regulation, is there control, who's building it for what purposes.
There's a lot of concern about the use of AI possibly reinforcing or further entrenching structural inequality that already exists. And I want to know if you share that concern, and if so, what do you think the law can or should do about it?
Look, of course, AI is biased and we should be worried about it, but the question is always compared to what? And so if you say this AI system has certain biases built into it and that's bad, it can't be, and therefore we shouldn't use it. It should be, how do those biases compare to the alternative? Because the alternative is so often a judge who's racist or sexist or prejudiced in other ways. We should tolerate more risk from machines. And then we should engage in a comparative question, like not is it bad, but rather how does the badness compare to the badness we already have in the world? Because it could be bad, but still better than the imperfect world we have.
We want to make sure that we're also not presented with the false choice of technology or humans. Maybe the problem was that we're doing this task that is having these unfair outcomes, and that in fact, technology has this opportunity to encourage us to revisit that task itself.
Scrubbing that bias out, though, is going to be very challenging because it's already baked into the system. So how do we kind of parse it out is the question. And I think we have to start with who the pipeline of people who are creating AI includes. It's very few women, very few people of color are actually involved with the creation of AI-related technology, and I think that's problematic. I don't really know how to fix that. That's just one aspect of the problem.
What role do you think law can play in actually shaping the advancement of technology and AI in this space? Is it really that whatever progress comes from technology is just inevitable and law has nothing to do with it and can only react? Or can law actually help shape what we end up with?
I think it already shapes it. It shapes the energy infrastructure around the data centers. It shapes the financial markets that lead to the funding. It shapes the hiring practices of the firms that build the tools. But I also think, like we know, the history of technology regulation is not one of inevitability.
The narrative of technology just being an inevitable force, that is a narrative that serves certain interests, and particularly interests that want to disclaim responsibility.
Maybe we want law to actually step in, both proactively when it comes to regulating before, but also articulating the harms as they come and empowering courts to tackle with issues as they arise.
Are we really looking at how is this impacting the workers, our communities, the environment? And I think that's a very real kind of values questions for corporations to have, and not really one that they've grappled with.
I think also as law teachers, we're training students, many of whom may end up working at these companies and drafting these constitutions for corporations. And I think it's our responsibility to train them as best we can to think about the impact of what they're doing and to try and accomplish some social justice in some measure in how they draft.
What gives you the most optimism about law and society in navigating the rise of AI?
Despite everything that I've said here, I am still optimistic about the promise of AI, but I do think it's important for people that are being impacted by this technology to have a voice in this process. It can't just be the private market actors.
I have thought more this year than ever that my students give me optimism. We're dealing with, at some level, a brand new technology that raises a new instantiation of a question we've dealt with 100 times before or 1,000,000 times before. And so watching my students work their way through analytic frameworks that I think are going to be portable and adaptable makes me more optimistic than just doom scrolling.
I think people actually can be convinced to demand a better world. This doesn't have to just happen, but it will just happen if we don't actually do something about it. So I am heartened that we have a legal system for now that actually is responsive still to human change.
There is a way in which this technology has potential for expanding human capability in very dramatic ways. There are risks involved, right? There are risks whose capabilities are being expanded, right? And for what ends. But a hope would be that we can learn from that too, and that we can understand and foster environments where this technology is put to good use.
Knowing that as scholars, you are working on this and seeing what you're doing in the classroom with our students, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic about future generations being prepared to navigate this thoughtfully and ethically. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Yeah.